The Timeshift.
Hello and welcome, I'm Chris Hall and this is The Timeshift, my sci-fi fun fest, and it is great to have you with me as always. Now today I'm talking about Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Series 2 Episode 3 entitled Making Friends and Influencing People. Now as this is like a little video review synopsis kind of thing, needless to say this video is going to be spoiler heavy. Now, I didn't do the whole wailing bit because it's been a very, very long week and I don't want to knacker my voice up as I'm about to do a show. So, with all that said and done, let us dive headfirst into making friends and influencing people. Now this episode I did thoroughly enjoy from start to finish, so there are some issues within it that I have to talk about because otherwise I wouldn't have anything to talk about. The main issue is the whole hypnosis machine. Now you see, this is an episode where we get to see Hydra in their natural habitat, we get to see some Hydra facilities and their staff and how they go about things. And Hydra has developed this new, I presume new, we're going to call it new, hypnosis machine which they use on people that they want to bring into the fold who are a little bit unwilling to do so. We have the generic Agent 37, which sounds like a name that you'd be given if this was a S.H.I.E.L.D. video game, and that would just be the generic name they gave you, so that you could have full voice acting and them actually talking and responding to you. Even though your name may be John Smith, you'll always be referred to as Agent 37 because of convenience. I don't know why I'm getting het up about that, but it's a whole hypnosis thing that should be het up about. The hypnosis machine is one of the most ludicrous devices I think I've seen on television for quite some time. It is a device that looks like it was devised as a cross-project between Willy Wonka and A Clockwork Orange. It is the machine that holds the eyes open whilst loads of swirly images whiz about on the screen in front of them. And of course soon they fall prey to it. And Sorry, there's an ice cream van. I can honestly see this being used on Simmons when eventually she's found out, because she is a secret agent for S.H.I.E.L.D. now. She's working within the science labs to discover any secrets that she can, whilst also getting herself into harm's way quite a bit. And I find it a little bit weird that she's the one that's doing the infiltration, as by her own admissions, she's the world's worst liar. But of course, you know, she hasn't been found out yet, but the chances are she will be found out soon, and there'll probably be a teary-eyed moment between Fitz and Simmons after Simmons has been brainwashed, in which they try to get her brain back, which I can honestly see them doing, but whatever, that doesn't matter. That's hypothetical. It may not happen, but I can honestly see it happening. It's practically written on the wall, which I think is the title of one of the upcoming episodes. Now, one of the weird bits, but I know it's a bit that'll be explained, is the fact that the guy running Hydra at the moment seems to be one of the Nazi officers that we saw at the start of episode 1, who somehow has managed to stay more or less the same age as he was in that opening bit. He's developed a full American accent. Any hint that he may have once been German has been gone. Though of course the moment you have a German speaking in English with a German accent, I think it's kind of enough to say, well, we weren't going to bother in the first place, so we might as well not bother at all, having still been German. We know that it's the same guy because he has a little monologue about Scotch, or a Scotchalogue as I like to call it, my favourite type of monologue, in which he talks about how when he was a younger man he bought a bottle of Scotch which was worth $10 and now it's worth about $4,000 a bottle or something ridiculous like that. Now, as the episode as a whole, I did find it thrilling and interesting. I really liked the scene between Fitz and Ward, which look, it's a scene that speaks for itself, so I'm not going to dwell on it too much, but I thoroughly enjoyed that. I am enjoying what they're doing with Fitz and Simmons, respectively, in their own separate areas. It's just the surrounding bits that in some areas just aren't clicking for me. Like Mr. Hunter, this week he was a little bit better and a little bit more tolerable, but it may just be the fact he wasn't as forward in the action, I think, as he was the first time round. And of course, there is a few more attempts at humour, and some of them kind of click a little bit better than they have done previously. So this does feel more business as usual than maybe the past couple of episodes. It was enjoyable and great, and well, I am interested to see where they go with it. And of course, this was an episode with a gifted in it, which of course, as we know, is legally different to mutant, and as is the case with all episodes with a gifted in it, the gifted dies by their own hands and their own powers. We had the guy that had control of a fire bursting into flames, we had the guy that can absorb material turning to stone, and this week we had Donnie Gill from last series getting encased in a block of ice. Yay! Well, you know, of course, we don't have access to actual mutants, so we might as well come up with our own, but they can't be too similar to any pre-existing mutants in fiction, otherwise people say it's a rip-off, and legal things will occur, or whatever. You know, I would like it if one week we could have an episode with a gifted in where they don't die, and maybe they become an interesting character, maybe a recurring one, or maybe one that we don't see till maybe the big Age of Ultron Avengers movie, in which people from the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show are going to be in. You know, maybe something like that, maybe. Whatever, probably not going to happen. But still, fully enjoyed this episode. I might not sound that enthusiastic about it, but it's just because I'm tired at the moment, and I don't want to overexert myself because I do have a radio show after this. But anyway, let us go from story, which was great and good, to talk about performance. Now, this was an episode which was focused almost entirely on Simmons, and Simmons is a character that I've loved pretty much since she was first introduced to the show. I found it to be very funny, very enjoyable, very sweet, and as I've said previously, I've always enjoyed the banter between her and Fitz, and I've always liked the will they, won't they in their little relationship. It did kind of annoy me ever so slightly that we had the "I don't need a boyfriend" song, which, I know what they're trying to say, and it is another two-finger salute to the whole idea of her and Fitz getting together, but I just find it a little bit annoying. Of all the songs they could have picked, it felt a little bit too twee and to a certain degree hipstery and hipster, but still. It was a very good episode for the fact that it was led primarily by her, and she's an interesting character, and she was very well played. As apart from that, he was more focused towards her than anyone else. And of course, the guy playing Donnie Gill, who, if I'm going to be honest, he was a little bit weak. And once again, I'm not sure if it is writing or performance. I think he just may be a little bit more writing, because his character was the bargain basement Mr. Freeze kind of character without the crappy freezing puns.
Oh my god, you gotta stop following me. I hate being followed by S.H.I.E.L.D. and by Hydra. I'm gonna freeze you.
He never seemed to have a conversation that lasts more than 3 minutes before,
I'm gonna freeze you.
Which, yeah, that's great, and I think we can see the special effect that they know that spent months trying to perfect, but still, we need a little bit more in character development, and the fact that towards the end of the episode say, "Oh, I did checks on local police chatter, and they don't seem to have found Danny Gill's body," which seems to leave it open for him to return again. Who knows, maybe the time that we see him the third time around, he may actually have a character. Alright, that's a bit harsh. He did have a character in the first one. It was an interesting character. Now it's just him going,
"Oh, I'm so misunderstood. Oh, Hydra and S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't like either of them. Freeze!"
Good grief. Of course, without any of that same level of animation. But apart from that, it is pretty much business as usual in terms of performances, as it was so focused on Simmons, which I'm glad that they spent some time actually with her, because she's an enjoyable character. She's a much needed ray of sunshine in this fucking show. It's so bloody bleak at the moment, which I understand. S.H.I.E.L.D's gone through hell, but a little bit of levity, a little bit of fun, a little bit of humour would go a long, long way. You know, I really hope that we do have some actual scenes between real Fitz and real Simmons together, having a bit of banter as they used to do, though chances are the next time they meet properly, it will be with Simmons having brainwashery on her. But whatever, still, everyone else in the show did alright, did good. They hit the nail on the head as far as the performances go. Once again, Hunter, still the jury's out, but I don't want to dwell too long on him, because otherwise it would just be me talking like a broken record. So with that said, let us just hop forward into the overview. Okay, so of all the bits I've got notes for, I don't actually have any notes for the overview. So I'll just say pretty much what I've said already. This is a thoroughly enjoyable episode. It does feel more like business than usual and more like the kind of S.H.I.E.L.D. show that I really love. The one that's a little bit adventurous, a little bit of fun, with the odd joke here and there. They may have not worked as much as they did, though the joke about Sky calling Hunter train spotted and him saying I'm not Scottish was an enjoyable joke, and it's probably the closest thing to laughing with Hunter as opposed to at him that probably comes since he's been introduced. As a whole episode, it was enjoyable, though of course it is a little bit more villain of the week, which was an issue towards the start of S.H.I.E.L.D. when it first started out, and it only really hit its stride and became a proper good show towards the second half of it. And I hope that we don't make it villain of the week quite the same as it was, but you know, we need some continuity. We need to acknowledge things and plot threads that were set up in the past. But at some point we're probably going to have the episode with with Dr. Hall in the Gravitanium, whatever it's called, which, you know, that would be an interesting development on that. Where they go with it, I don't honestly know, because I don't know anything about comic books, so who knows? For us, all I know, he may be a well-known character within the Marvel Universe. I don't honestly know, but whatever. Next week is going to be... I don't know. I thought I knew, but I forgot, because I was about to say, oh yeah, next week's episode is the episode that Simmons is reintroduced, but she's already reintroduced, so Christ knows what's going to happen next week. Though I don't think there is even a next time on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of trailer for it. I've seen no preview stuff for it. I don't want to speculate what may be in it, but whatever's going to be in it, I'm sure it's going to be fantastic and good and great. But what about yourselves? How about you? Where do you think this series is going to go as a whole? What direction do you think it's going to go? Where would you like to see the series go? And are there any characters within the past series that you'd like to see reintroduced, or maybe some characters within the greater Marvel universe you'd like to maybe see a cameo appearance for, or a hint of their existence? You know, I may not know who they are, but at least it'll give me something to talk about next week, because if episodes are good and as good as this, it gives me drastically less things to talk about. But whatever, I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have any questions, queries, statements, or whatever, just leave them in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.